Welcome to Present Poetry. I'm your host, Erin Crittenden, and all poems within this podcast are either public domain or used with permission from the author or the author's estate. It's a fun time for poetry lovers of all ages, so sit back, relax, and get ready to hear some poems of the past and the present. This week's featured poet is John Freeman. John Frederick Freeman was born on January 29, 1880, in London. When he was 13, he got a job as an office boy in an insurance firm and went on to have an extremely successful career before quitting to write poetry full-time. He met Walter De La Mare in 1907, and they became fast friends. Walter, along with Edward Marsh, lobbied to get Freeman's works into the Georgian Poetry series with eventual success. Freeman then went on to win the Hawthornden Prize in 1920 for his poetry collection, and he ended up writing about 16 bodies of work consisting of poetry collections, letters, and essays between the years of 1911 and 1929. Freeman passed on September 23, 1929. However, his work is still discussed among critics, poets, and readers alike. We are reading from Poems New and Old, a collection published in 1920. This poem is called The Evening Sky. Rose-bosomed and rose-limbed, with eyes of dazzling bright, shakes Venus mid the twined boughs of the night. Rose-limbed, soft-stepping, from low bough to bough, shaking the wide-hung starry fruitage, dimmed its bloom of snow by that sole planetary glow. Venus, avers the astronomer, not thus idly dancing goes, flushing the eternal orchid with wild rose. She through the ether burns, outpacing planetary earth, and ere 2 years triumphantly returns, and again wave-like swelling flows, and again her flashing apparition comes and goes. This we have not seen, no heavenly course is set, no flight unpausing through a void serene, but when eve clears, arises Venus as she first uprose, stepping the shaken boughs among, and in her bosom glows the warm light hidden in sunny snows. She shakes the clustered stars lightly as she goes amid the unseen branches of the night. Rose-limbed, rose-bosomed bright, she leaps, they shake and pale, she glows, and who but knows how the rejoiced heart aches when Venus all his starry vision shakes? When through his mind, tossing with random airs of an unearthly wind, rose-bosomed, rose-limbed, the mistress of his starry vision arises, and the boughs glittering sway, and the stars pale away, and the enlarging heaven glows, as Venus light-foot mid the twined branches go. This poem is called The Pond. Gray were the rushes, beside the budless bushes, green patched the pond. The lark had left soaring, though yet the sun was pouring his gold here and beyond. Bramble branches held me, but had they not compelled me, yet had I lingered there, hearing the frogs and then watching the water hen that stared back at my stare. There amid the bushes were blackbirds' nests and thrushes, soon to be hidden, in leaves on green leaves thickening, boughs over long boughs quickening, swiftly unforbidden. The lark had left singing, but song all round was ringing, as though the rushes were sighingly repeating, and mingling that most sweet thing with the sweet note of thrushes. That sweetness rose all round me, but more than sweetness bound me, a spirit stirred. Shadowy and cold it neared me, then shrank as if it feared me, but it was I that feared. This poem is called Nowhere, Everywhere. Flesh and blood, bone and skin are the house that beauty lives in. Formed in darkness, grown in light, are they the substance of delight. Who could have dreamed the things he sees in these strong, lovely presences? In cheeks of children, thews of men, women's bodies beloved of men? Who could have dreamed a thing so wise as the clear look of the child's eyes? Who the thin texture of her hand, but with a hand's touch understand? Shaped in eternity were these bodies miracles, where the seas their continuous rhythm learn, and the stars in their bright order burned. From stars and seas was motion caught, when flesh, blood, bone, and skin were wrought into swift, lovely liveliness. Oh, but beauty less and less than beauty grows. The cheeks fall in, color dies from the smooth skin, and muscles slack, and bones are brittle. Veins and arteries, little by little, delay the tides of the blood. That is a ditch that was a flood. Then all but dry bones disappears, white bones that lie 100 years, cheated of resurrection. Where is that beauty gone? Escaped even while we watched it so, and none guessed the way it would go? Only it's fled, and here alone lie blood and skin and flesh and bone. Where is the beauty that was here? Nowhere, everywhere. This poem is called I Have Never Loved You Yet. I have never loved you yet, if now I love. If love was born in that bright April sky, and ran unheeding when the sun was high, and slept as the moon sleeps through autumn nights, with those dear steady stars burn in their heights. If love so lived and ran and slept and woke, and ran in beauty when each morning broke, love yet was boylike, fervid and unstable, teased with romance, not knowing truth from fable. But winter after autumn comes and stills the petulant waters, and the wild mind fills with silence, and the dark and cold are bitter, oh bitter, to remember past days sweeter. Then spring with one warm cloudy finger breaks the frost, and the heart's airless black soil shakes. Love grown a man uprises, serious, bright, with mind remembering now things dark and light. Oh, if young love was beautiful, love grown old, experienced and grave is not grown cold. Life's faithful fire in love's heart burns the clearer, with all that was and is draws darkling nearer. I have never loved you yet, if now I love. This poem is called November Skies. Than these November skies is no sky lovelier. The clouds are deep. Into their gray the subtle spies of color creep, changing that high austerity to delight, till even the leaden inner folds are bright. And where the cloud breaks faint far azure peers, ere a thin flushing cloud again shuts up that loveliness, or shares, the huge great clouds move slowly, gently as, reluctant the quick sun should shine in vain, holding in bright caprice their reign. And when of colors none, not rose, nor amber, nor the scarce late green, is truly seen in all the myriad gray, in the silver height and dusky deep remain the loveliest, faint purple flushes of the unvanquished sun. Thank you for listening to this episode of Present Poetry. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review, share us on social media, or subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you would like to learn more about the featured poet, or you would like your work featured on the podcast, please check out the links in the show notes. Thank you again for listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.